This waitress found a new way to thaw out frozen hamburger patties. This coroner isn't looking for the deceased's ID. He's looking for cash. And this guy adds new meaning to the phrase soul food. What do all these people have in common? They've all been busted. Think we're kidding? Over the next hour, we're going to see some of the most outrageous footage ever captured on hidden video. Some of it is funny. Some of it is scary. But all of it is real. Hear the ultimate 911 call.
I got a man in the pool. He's got his private stuck in the pump block.
Okay, we'll get the police out.
Thank you.
These people have all been busted. And we're just getting started.
Due to the length of Robbie Knievel Grand Canyon Death Jump, we now join Busted Everywhere, already in progress.
Was disappearing on wash days. A hidden camera was set up, and this local truck driver was nabbed in the act. His excuse? He was starving. He thought they were edible. Well, see, as long as he's got a good excuse. Hidden cameras can protect more than a woman's unmentionables. They can protect her dignity. Well, in this case, a female deputy went undercover to catch a motel night manager who wanted to get her under covers. They caught him on video, but it was the audio surveillance that really got him busted.
Why did you do that? I didn't know you did. Don't think at all.
The judge sent him to jail, but told him, don't worry, we'll leave the light on for you. This man was sued because they claimed his dog was a menace to society. The owner's attorney advised him to make this videotape to prove that the dog was easily managed. As this footage shows, this is one well-trained animal. And it also proves that the only true menace to society is lawyers. When a restaurant owner started falling short on food, he installed a hidden camera to catch any pilfering employees. The culprit was caught the very next day, as the camera revealed a hamburglar stealing frozen patties. Why didn't she stick them in her buns where they belong? We're pretty sure this guy has never read George Orwell. Otherwise, he'd realize Big Brother was watching him steal meat, more meat, and more meat. What, is this crook low on iron? Most guys just steal enough for a meal. This guy seems to be going on a 6-month survival retreat. Who says good help is hard to find? This cleaning lady was working the night shift when she must have noticed some dust in a hard-to-reach spot, way up inside the toy vending machine. So what's a thorough maid to do? Tip the 200-pound-plus machine right over, of course. She didn't get the dust spot, but she got 12 stuffed animals worth a retail price of at least $2. Now, this pint-sized auteur was trying to set up a camera in the ladies' room. Like many perfectionists, he just had to get it right. He even held a few dress rehearsals. This is the kind of guy who actually likes to use those hot air blowers. Anyway, guess what? His oh-so-careful placement of the camera was spotted in about 2 minutes. And when the tape was played back, guess who got caught? And guess who got busted? If that story didn't bowl you over, maybe this is more up your alley. This bowling alley employee has a very special relationship with the shoes under his care. He likes his job. I mean, he really likes his job. Maybe too much.
Yes, it's my job to spray the shoes, but I just wish I could just stand there for hours and sniff the shoes.
Why would anyone do that?
To lick and sniff the bowling shoes is a real turn-on. You just can't believe what you'll get out of it. Remember this next time you show up at the bowling alley and realize you forgot your socks. Some people say I do have a fetish, but who cares? I like to look at, smell, lick, and taste shoes and feet. If that's a fetish, who cares?
Next, we meet the school crossing guard from hell. Nothing like a cold brewski on a hot afternoon. Also,
Get out!
this guy should have stayed out of the pool, or at least worn a swimsuit.
There was a naked man in my pool, and I have the tape to prove it.
Speaking of pools,
I got a man in the pool. He's got his private stuck in the pump line.
we learn what happens when a very private part gets stuck in a very public place.
You've either got to have nerves of steel or just be completely out of your wits.
And we get some good sales advice.
It's amazing that after a lady barfed on this dress, we sold it in 2 days.
And finally, we meet some people who let it all hang out. And they don't care who knows about it. When Busted Everywhere comes back. The dawn of the surveillance age has guaranteed that we are being watched and protected by vigilant, well, make that occasionally lecherous security guards, keeping a keen eye out for any wrongdoing. Or in this case, getting a few cheap thrills on the job. However, not in the case of this shirt-lifting Vegas call girl. This bold display of free advertising was caught by security cameras, and soon after, this private escort was escorted right out the door. What is this, a cable access remake of Rear Window? No, it's an amateur camera buff. Get it? Buff? I mean, surveillance doesn't have to be professional to get the goods. She cooks, she cleans, she's naked. Talk about neighborhood watch. A videotaper caught this window full on a regular basis until he decided to catch the nude nanny in action. However, he didn't register a formal complaint. Now for something really gruesome. The cameraman, a disgruntled neighbor. His beef, the guy next door destroying property values by, well, see for yourself. This is worse than parking a rusty pickup truck on your front lawn. And even worse, it is scary to small children and other living things. Here are some on-the-job hijinks. This couple decided to work late.
Then they started fooling around, and as they were going on, you could see them taking their clothes off, kissing, touching, fondling, and before you know it, they're on the desk doing their thing.
I guess he's propping her up while she reaches for some lost files. Note the rakish tie over the shoulder. The 70s refused to die. Remember streaking? Well, recently, this guy made a statement in our nation's capital. Okay, if we really want to get better ratings for the NFL, we've got an idea for you. Neighbors can do all sorts of annoying things, playing loud music, leaving refrigerators in the front yard, or holding wild sex parties every Saturday night. That's what this quiet neighborhood was shocked to discover when they sent an investigator to find out just what kind of parties required valet parking and ran to all hours of the night. The party animals were busted for running a very risky business. Everybody stand for the national anthem. Okay, you two can sit this one out. When a suspicious wife started wondering where her husband was really going every Friday night when he said he was playing basketball with the guys, she hired a private eye. He traced the guy to a local motel where he had a regular rendezvous with a married woman. The angry wife had the PIs leave a little message that he was busted, written appropriately enough on a basketball. PIs watched as the happy couple arrived. Get the ball. Read the message and realize they've just been caught dribbling in the wrong court. Why don't you two lovebirds go find a hotel? Wait, you're in a hotel. Why don't you find a room? Oh, the hell with it. The hallway will work just fine. Just watch out for those pesky rug burns. Talk about your urban nightmare. Either this guy is completely insane, or he has just been caught in the act by a jealous husband. You decide. For obvious reasons, this high-wire act attracted a crowd, and one of them called the police.
There was a naked man in my pool, and I have the tape to prove it.
This young couple were playing with a new video camera when they heard a splash from their backyard pool.
I heard the splash, and I turned around, and I couldn't tell who it was at first. I kind of walked out, and I saw him, and then as soon as he got out, I realized he was naked.
Get out! Oh my God! Oh my God!
And I was just shocked. Oh my gosh, he's naked.
Hey! What are you doing?
When he heard me yell out, he took off.
Oh my God!
It was like a Bigfoot sighting.
Oh my God!
Now the hard part begins. How do you look your neighbor in the eye when you've seen everything else?
When I confronted my neighbor, it was pretty casual. I think he may be a little embarrassed and doesn't want to talk to me.
When you tell your neighbors you want to see more of them, be sure they don't take it literally.
Hey! What are you doing? Get out! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Category, cups and robbers. And the winner, the strangest holdup caught on tape, the infamous bra bandit. Looks like he just robbed a Victoria's Secret. This guy's unmistakable modus operandi was captured on surveillance cameras all over town until the cops caught up to him and snagged him. And finally, it's time for the traditional seventh-inning stretch. This somewhat inebriated woman decided to support her home team in her own special way. Note the reaction of the male fans. Men are from Mars, clearly. Now, there might just be a compelling reason not to wear any clothes, because there are fashion statements and there are fashion statements. After carefully examining the dress on display, this canny shopper had an issue with the price. Her reaction was immediate and disgusting. Oops. Anyone watching? Good. Let's just hang it back up and hope there are no costume fittings for the rest of the afternoon. We just had to find out what went wrong.
I threw up on the dress that day and I put it back. So what?
So what? Is that all you can say?
I don't remember the color, but it was bad and it smelled terrible. It smelled terrible. I have to leave that place quick.
The plot and residue thickens. Once confronted by the store owner, the girl had an immediate reaction.
She felt so bad that she threw up on me again. I made her so nervous that she threw up all in my lap. And by that time, I had had it.
We couldn't agree more. Barfing on the merchandise is one thing, but barfing on the owner of the store, that's the line you shouldn't cross.
I started screaming at her. I just lost it at that point.
But this plucky store owner made the best of a bad situation.
You know, it was a dress that we'd already paid good money for, and I wasn't going to just leave it. So, I had to go get a clerk to take it outside, hose it off, and we decided to put it back on the rack. But, we marked it down a couple dollars. It's amazing that after a lady barfed on this dress, we sold it in 2 days.
Think this is bad? Think again.
A woman, throwing up on the dress is not the worst that I've ever seen. A man pooping in that shoe is the worst that I've ever seen. That was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my 25 years of retail.
Maybe we shouldn't give this guy any more ideas. Next, this mortician should have shown more respect for the dearly departed. These idiots should have rethought their escape plan. This crossing guard should have hid her beers in a brown paper bag. And now, there are few endeavors more likely to engender stupid behavior than a life of crime. Think we're kidding? What's better than one brilliant criminal mind? 3 brilliant criminal minds tethered together with a heavy chain. When these 3 extremely petty criminals got out of a paddy wagon right in front of a police station and several armed guards, they decided to make a desperate break for freedom. But they couldn't get past the high-tech security lamppost. Perhaps the rearresting officer says it best. Now, every employee is entitled to a break now and then. Oh, okay, and a free candy bar. Shoot, while I'm at it, how about a pack of coffin nails? And what the hey, who's gonna miss a couple of $100 greenbacks from the cash register? Huh? What? A security camera? Oops, maybe I should have stolen that too. Now, I don't know much about art, but I do know how to steal it. Check out this guy as he cases the gallery. Good, now that I'm sure there are no hidden security cameras, it's time to zero in on the target, an expensive statue. A casual exit, and then he returns and pulls the old hide the bulky sculpture under my equally bulky jacket trick. And then saunters out the door. Not so fast there, pal. He got busted. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. I'd hammer in the evening, all over this convenience store. But try as he might, this hammerhead just couldn't get the cash register open. Finally, our frustrated felon got smart for maybe the first time in his life. He walked away. Some advice to prospective thieves. Here's a great way to get some quick cash. Steal an entire ATM machine. First, pick it up. Wow, this thing is heavy. Who knew? Well, maybe it might help if we unplugged it. Yikes, what's up with this? Okay, we're here. Let's see, bag of chips, a couple of brewskis, some pork rinds. Oh yeah, this ATM machine is just lying around. Why not grab it too? How much is that doggy in the window? Nothing if you know what you're doing. This crook, after lathering up with some special kibble-scented cologne, used the football hold to slip an expensive English bulldog under his arm and make a beeline for the parking lot. He didn't get very far. He got busted. Now, once you've done the crime, you've got to avoid doing the time. This guy tried to hide out in a tree, but what went up couldn't get down. It took 3 hours to extricate him and collect all the loot that he dropped on the ground. When this criminal mastermind heard police arriving at the scene, he attempted a daring escape, hiding inside a tree. His sneaky plan just might have worked until he went too far out on a limb. Meet Spider-Man Jr. When police trapped him during a high-speed chase, he attempted his daring escape by swinging from roof to roof, using high power lines as his high wire, even hoisting himself up on electrical poles. The police could only watch in shock as he managed to somehow avoid electrocuting himself during his dangerous escapade. Finally, even he got tired of his shenanigans. He came down and was arrested. This disgruntled cook trying to rob his own restaurant thought he'd sneak in through the roof. He promptly became painfully wedged in the cooking vent and found himself in a very compromising situation. Speaking of ceiling vents, this guy made it as far as the roof of the restaurant he was trying to rob, until he could go no further. His screams awoke helpful neighbors who sent the rescuers and the police. When breaking and entering, one should make sure you can leave as well. For instance, this overweight felon got in, but got stuck in the window on the way out. Fortunately, helpful firemen and serious bolt cutters were able to extricate him. He was sentenced to 5 years at Weight Watchers. Here's some on-the-job fun. An average court clerk begins pocketing small change while collecting fines. Somebody started to notice and set up a hidden camera. Well, in this case, a penny saved is a penny earned. And $448,000 later, the guy was caught and faces up to 7 years in jail. Now, this guy may have gotten a bum rap. All he did was quietly sneak into his neighbor's garage, make sure that the car was properly locked, and then borrow the lawnmower. I guess he needed to trim his lawn. It wasn't his fault that it was 3:57 in the morning. He just didn't want to wake up the neighborhood. This thoughtful employer decided to commemorate the ceremonial 100th tub of yogurt stolen by this employee with this special commemorative videotape, a copy of which was also presented to the local police. We said clean the place, not clean out the place. This carpet cleaner does a thorough job of robbing this homeowner of his top-shelf liquor. This vacuum cleaner promises to remove all stains and liquor from your house. Watch as this guy checks out the merchandise at a sporting goods store. Then tries on the merchandise. Covers the merchandise with his jacket and eventually saunters out. But security saw the whole thing and he got busted. A neighborhood family noticed their family fish were disappearing at an alarming rate, and the cat didn't seem to be gaining any weight. To solve the mystery, they set up a camera and caught the fish bandits red-handed. Watch as this pint-sized Jacques Cousteau carefully scoops out her victim. A few hours later, she was caught stealing tartar sauce packets from the Lobster Hut. These kids' yearbook should read, most likely to be imprisoned, especially after they formed a petty theft ring. Now let's follow their thought processes here. First, steal video camera. Next, tape themselves with video camera, taking care to show their faces. Then tape their stolen items with stolen video camera. Finally, leave incriminating videotape where parents can find it. Now this guy has got the whole Santa thing backwards. He doesn't bring gifts down the chimney. No, he steals loot and hauls it up the chimney. Not so fast, Mr. Kringle. He got busted. This guy redefines the phrase bottom feeder. Watch as this undertaker takes a few liberties with this guy's wallet. Hey, he won't need it where he's going, and nobody needs to be the wiser. Except for the hidden camera. And thanks to videotape, the mortician's career got put on ice also. Next, we learn how not to be a school crossing guard. How not to mix a tasty cocktail. How not to impress your employer.
I'm not proud of what I did, but I did what a lot of people wish they could do.
How not to act around a motel pool filter.
He found a pipe which he inserted the member into.
He said he's been in there for 3 hours. He can't keep laughing.
And what not to put in your boss's coffee. And that's not non-dairy creamer. When Busted Everywhere returns. The following people were busted for just getting themselves in the strangest situations, which for some reason often involve calling 911 to come to the rescue. Is there a price to being too thrifty? Only if it comes at the cost of your left hand. Here's a guy who was dime-wise and impound foolish. After trying to pry a dime out from behind his car seat, he got stuck. And it took the jaws of life to pry him loose.
No, we can see it pretty good. How's that feel, sir?
And what is worse, he never got that dime back. As Elvis once sang, stuck on you. Or in this case, stuck in a drain. This guy managed to drop his keys down a pipe. Naturally, he reached in. Unfortunately, this guy is a tad overweight and got stuck. Paramedics were called to the scene, and he was dislodged, thanks to the skillful application of some baby oil. Cheesed off toddler versus fire department. Score 1 for the toddler. She locked herself in the car and would not come out.
Will you get out your seat and open the door for Mommy?
Nothing worked.
Please?
Promises. Authority figures.
Brown, will you try to get her to open the door? Hey, baby! Can you pull this up for me, please?
Lessons in car theft. It's over when I say it's over. And now in the moment we've all been waiting for category. The proud unveiling of a new minivan at a car show. A moment of truth, except the automotive executives can't get out. Luckily, it was still under warranty. And meanwhile, elsewhere at the car show, fathers who refuse to support their children can run, but they can't always hide. This disgruntled mom put her ex's stuff up for sale. Nice stuff. Maybe he should stay lost. You're better off without this loser. This guy isn't a crook, but this dumb idea almost seems criminal. When he got locked out of his third-floor apartment, he thought he'd just tie a fire hose around his waist and lower himself down the side of the building. His measurement wasn't too precise, and he found himself hanging around for over an hour. Once again, firemen and police to the rescue. Now a word from the busted Consumer Affairs Department. Want to save money? Steal. Cases in point? 10 gallons of gas? That'll be $12.50, sir. Hey, come back here. $6 for the taxi ride. Hey, come back here. Keeping us safe from crooks like those are police. But sometimes good cops can go bad.
Cut the car off now! Turn that
And the cameras that these good cops use to protect themselves catch bad cops acting, well, bad.
Quit fighting me!
In this case, this Georgia cop got a little physical after a runaway thief eluded arrest for several miles. This tape, taken from another cop's dash-mounted camera, didn't surface for several months. And when it did, one cop was in big trouble. And finally, the call of the wild, communing with nature. But in order to commune, you need to get there first. This happy camper loaded the rental car and sped off, conveniently forgetting that the engine was where the trunk should be.
That boy is a fire.
This flambe goose down ought to keep out the cold, and, oh yeah, don't forget the propane tank. When we return, the ultimate recreational nightmare when a man has an intimate encounter with a pool filter.
You gotta stop laughing here.
This is something you just don't see every day.
And we hear the confession of the disgruntled secretary.
I was never worried about the stains on the chair because I always flipped the seat cushion over.
Convincing proof of why drinking may be bad for your health. And watch as the world's worst school crossing guard takes a little siesta when Busted Everywhere returns. Note to lecherous barflies. Don't pinch your waitress's butt. Why not? Roll tape. This waitress was having a hard night and complained about the jerk at table 5 one too many times. Her friend, the bartender, decided to help her get a little payback. His next Stolian soda was made with extra TLC, with a little splash of spit and a dollop of phlegm. Now, in our inaugural edition of Busted on the Job, we showed you this guy performing the ultimate act of employee revenge in the most disgusting possible way. Now, if you thought that was bad, watch our next candidate for our coveted Employee of the Month award. Back in the what's that strange taste in my coffee department, this disgruntled secretary really found a way to get even with her boss. She offers to get him a refill on the Java, takes it to the coffee pot, fills it, gets out a feminine hygiene product, and, well, you get the idea. The lengths some people will go for revenge. 2 forest rangers were miffed at their boss and decided to teach him a lesson. For days on end, they left a little gift on his front step in the form of a pool of urine. The man suspected the culprits, but couldn't be sure until he set up a surveillance camera and caught them with their pants down. When the evidence leaked, they got busted. What's worse than that? Well, you had to ask. This building maintenance man had a somewhat disgusting habit. Okay, make that an unbelievably disgusting habit.
Whenever employees urinate on their boss's chair or do something malicious or something vicious like that, it's usually because they're not happy, they're not satisfied at their job.
Really? We thought this was just normal on-the-job behavior. Now, in our last broadcast, we showed you a preschool teacher who just couldn't resist taking a snack break by eating her napping toddler's lunches. Well, while she was chowing down inside the school, guess what was going on outside the school? Roll tape! It all started when a parent couldn't help but notice that the local crossing guard had an annoying habit of weaving across the crosswalk and belching occasionally. So she set up her own sting operation to find out why. Within minutes, she had her evidence. An iced-down 6-pack of beer. No wonder she was in such a good mood. After the 5th beer, she wanted to adopt every one of those adorable little tykes. The crossing guard was promptly put on ice as well. And now for the ultimate 911 call. A Florida man visits a local hotel pool for a little after-hours fun. Let's see, what are the options? Float on raft, a quick game of Marco Polo, cannonball off the diving board? I've got it. I'll put my privates in the pool filter, yeah.
You've either got to have nerves of steel or just be completely out of your wits to want to try it.
This activity falls under the don't try this at home, or anywhere for that matter, heading.
You've got to make an extreme attempt to do it. You have to be in a position to do it. You'd have to be a contortionist, first off.
A little show and tell.
This is a standard spa suction grate. He obviously removed this cover, and then behind it, he found a pipe which he inserted the member into.
Well, guess what? It promptly got stuck. And 4 long hours later, the trap man is spotted by security, who calls 911 for help. This is the actual call as recorded on that fateful day.
Can I have a squad car come over here? This is something you got to see. This is unbelievable.
And what's the problem there?
I got a man in the pool. He's got his private stuck in the pump line.
What? You're kidding me.
I'm telling you, honest to God, something you really got to see to believe.
You got to stop laughing here.
This is something you just don't see every day.
And he's in the pool?
He's in the pool. He said he's been in there for 3 hours. It's got to be shriveled up like jelly. I'm sorry.
Firemen and rescuers work for hours to set him free. They had their work and some very private parts cut out for them.
Pool or spa suction lines are at least 10 times, 20 times stronger than a vacuum, your standard household vacuum cleaner.
Fortunately, the man was freed, a little worse for wear. He was sadder, wiser, and his voice was 2 octaves higher.
Guys are going to want to put their members just about anywhere. My best recommendation is don't try it with your spa and stick with your own species.
When we come back, the ultimate act of employee revenge gets a convincing, or at least disgusting, explanation.
I'm a normal person. I just got pushed over the edge by my boss. I'm a normal person. I just got pushed over the edge by my boss.
You may remember this disgruntled secretary from our last broadcast. P.I. Kelly Fromm sure does. He was the P.I. who caught her in her disgusting act. It seemed that a boss suspected that one of his employees had a major attitude problem, a problem that found expression in vandalism of some unknown type.
Of all the surveillance work that I've performed, this is absolutely the most outrageous incident I've captured on tape.
But there are 2 sides to every story. And after an extensive nationwide manhunt, we tracked down our girl. We wanted to give her the chance to tell her side of the story. And that side of the story begins with a boss who couldn't keep his hands where they belonged.
He was always coming up and touching me in ways that made me feel uncomfortable around my peers, my coworkers.
Insult soon turned to injury when the rejected boss started to gossip around the office about sexual services that were definitely not rendered.
I had overheard 2 of my male coworkers talking about me, saying that I was into some unusual sex act, and at that point it made me very angry to know that someone I had cared about was spreading these vicious lies about me.
Anger turned to calculation. How could she hit the boss where it would hurt the most? Then inspiration struck.
It just came to me out of the blue to urinate on his chair. I guess I was letting out some of my anger.
And that wasn't all she was letting out. After the boss noticed a funny smell in his office, the secretary got taped and busted.
I had no idea there was any cameras hidden in the room.
At the beginning of our journey, we quoted Einstein, saying that human stupidity was infinite. Einstein spent his life trying to go beyond infinity, to reach the unknown. Our goal here, to boldly go beyond stupidity, to explore the nether reaches of massive, unexplainable dumbness, to discover why people would not only be really dumb, but would do it on camera, in front of everyone, forever. We try to explain why they do it, but hey, we're not Einstein.